All right, so I put in the Ninja, and it was having a hard time chopping up. This would probably be better to do if you weren't doing such a small batch. Like if you do, like, let's say up to here, get them chopped down really fine, and then put them in a container to give them every day. But for right now, I had just a few little extra pieces, so I had to put some water in there, and then I'll just strain it out. Once I strain it out, then I'll have the pieces that I need, and I put the little piece of garlic in. I use my fish net as a strainer, so we're gonna go give these particles to the fish. All right, here they are. I'm gonna give some for these guys. Ah, this batch is floating. Perfect. Let's see how they do. Oh. They're going after it. They're not sure what it is, but they need it. I put a little garlic in there because that'll help with their little whatever illnesses they got going on. Oh, I said I was going to put it on this side of the tank. And then I'll add more for the Plecos. It's a little messy right now, but I'm not worried about it. Because once it gets soft enough that they can just slurp it up, they'll just slurp it up. They're already eating the smallest pieces now, but they'll get... Oh, the guppies are eating. They're getting pieces in their mouth. So this is basically I'm trying to go as natural as possible with this tank because they have so many of these products out here, like aquarium salt is sodium chloride, which I have liquid form, but I don't have enough to maintain like all my frequent water changes. So I did get some of that, but like the stress coats and the ick medicine, it's literally tea tree oil with 91% tea tree oil with 99% water, and I'm paying crazy amounts of money for that when I already buy tea tree oil for myself. So why am I gonna buy it and pay for something again? um you know, I'm just, that's what's why it's so important to like read the labels. And a lot of these, a lot of these industries don't really have to, some of these industries, not a lot, but some of these industries don't have to like label what their ingredients are, and they should, because if you have the stuff already, there's no reasoning for you to spend more money buying something else. Now, if you're living in a house where you don't have tea tree oil and you don't really care to be, living in a natural life and using natural substances to help aid you through this life and make you more healthy, then fine. But if you're living that life already, why should you have to pay on top of what you're already paying for the same exact thing? Um, like yeast is in the tropical plant food. So if I already have instant yeast and I do use it to make bread, I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of yeast in there, because when you it's like when we eat food, you can eat processed vegetables, but they're not going to be as beneficial for you when they're processed. So if their fish are eating a processed fish food, then they've gone through all of this heating and drying and just this machinery. So there's probably metals in there, which is why your nitrates and your nitrites go up and down in your water when you feed your fish these fish flakes. So your water goes very, you might look at this and say, oh my God, like look at this food flakes in here. Well, those food flakes are natural food, not been processed, and they're going to eventually come out of the tank. They're not going to have such a harsh, they're not going to have such a harsh effect on the water and the pH of the water than something that is processed, because I mean, they're just not going to. Same thing with yeast. The yeast is naturally in water, but then they take it out of the water to process it with the fish food and put it together. So it should be easy for you to just grab a little bit of yeast, sprinkle a little, throw some veggies in the Ninja, boil down some of the hard veggies like carrots and sweet potatoes and broccoli, boil them down, throw them in the Ninja, and toss them in the tank. That gives the fish something to fight with, because the flakes, once they sink, they sink. And if they don't scoop up enough in their mouth, then you have that sitting on the bottom decomposing already. These vegetables, when vegetables are in water, they don't decompose as fast as something that's dried flakes that's processed. So they have to now wait and find their food now in the grass. So it'll give them a more of a natural environment than what they have in the wild. Their vegetation in the wild, they have to pick that apart. They have to go hunt for it. So it'll give them something to do that is more like what they would be doing out in the wild. And it'll save you money on fish food for sure. If you're already buying veggies and you have the little scraps from when you cook your dinner, instead of tossing them in the trash or putting everything into the compost, which most people don't even have a compost, so we're addressing those people. If you don't have a compost and when you make your salads, you have the little tops of the peppers, you collect your tops of your peppers and you just throw them in the Ninja, chop them up with some water, and throw that, strain it with the fish net, and then throw that in the tank. And they're super happy. They're more calm. They're happy, you can see, because they're like, whoa, where's the food at? I know I saw some food drop here. But they're not like, rushing to eat like they do when you put flakes. You put the flakes in and they're like, oh my God, if I don't eat that now, it's going to disappear and it's just going to start to decompose and blah, blah, blah. So now the food's sitting down there and they're like, all right, I see the food. It's there. I'm going to get it when I can get it. And if there's some food on the top that fits in their mouth. Now, these guys already they already ate bread, basically, live cultures of yeast. They also ate some brine shrimp eggs, and they also had a little bit of flakes. So they've had like 3 different varieties of food. They're eating that up. I probably won't feed them for like a while now, just to give them time to get their stomach together and be able to accept new food, because you don't want them to get all bloated and sick. But once they pass like a couple poos, then probably tomorrow night I'll feed them again just like this, but not like flakes. I'll probably just give them a little bit of the fresh food. And then you have garlic in the water, which is a natural antibiotic. So all that'll help them recover from this ick situation that is on them, that just piggybacked its way from someone's tank. So yeah, I think that you should try this. Definitely, especially if you want to get like, if you want to experiment and you're doing it for a hobby, or you're doing it for like business and you want to breed, or you're doing it for show and you want your colors to pop on your fish, like you want to feed them good quality food. So that's why it's important. And you don't want to be paying all crazy amount of money for all the fish antibiotics. Like, that's ridiculous, when all of this natural stuff is much better for them. And the tea tree oil is clearly working. I'm seeing a very, very pronounced dieback of that. It's like turning brownish and it's looking like it's not trying to stick. So anyway, the shrimp have they taken notice? The ghost shrimp are hard to see, but I don't see any. I don't see the black ones either. or the blue ones, or the red ones. They're hiding. They're like, man, she's over here doing that crazy stuff, messing with our relaxation. And the Plecos, they're sleeping. Oh, there's one back. There's both back there. They are sticking. They are literally right underneath the green tea bags. They're right underneath them. So they're clearly fine with them. And the other fish haven't been affected at all by them. So I am very happy about taking that decision to throw the green tea in there. I'll keep you updated.